Hey, what's up? It's me, Gazbot, and I'm back with another of Gazbot's Toy Shots. That's right, Gazbot's Toy Shots, where I give you a quick little update on things I've picked up and found. Well, usually not found, although occasionally I've found things. Usually I have to buy them. I pick them up and I buy them. Let's get to it. This particular episode, as it were, I am going to be recapping some older things. The holidays have just passed, but what I'm showing you are not gifts I've got, and they're also not things I bought for myself recently. These are things that slipped through the cracks that I forgot to mention, that I ordered a while ago that just came, things like that. So the first thing that we have up here is an unpackaged loose vintage dock. And this is from G.I. Joe. This is from the 80s series, the 3 3/4 inch series. And as you can see, he has his helmet and his accessory, a mortar, I believe. I don't remember if he comes with a backpack, and I did not check. Doc is, I think from the second wave, although I could be mistaken about that, of the 3 3/4 inch figures. He was the first medical officer that was available in figure form, at least in this line. Later came Lifeline and other people. And I never had him. I always wanted him. And he was re-released in the anniversary line, which is roughly the same scale. I have some of those, and they mix very well with the vintage line, by the way. And the anniversary series sort of is over, although they sometimes release a few figures at Comic-Con and things like that. And again, this is as of December 2015. This figure I got at Santa Rosa Comic-Con and Toy Show, or whatever it was called, that I talked about in previous episodes, but I forgot I got him. I believe I paid $3 for him. It was certainly $5 or less. I believe it was $3, and it was a table that had a ton of loose figures, a lot of G.I. Joe. They had a bag, just a Ziploc big bag full of Doc. And they were $3 each. They're like, how many do you want? I'm like, well, just one. You know, I guess there's people coming in buying wholesale to resell, but I'm like, I just want one for my collection. And they said $3. And I looked, and there was 20 of them, 30 of them at least. And so I tried to find the one that had the tightest joints and the best paint apps. Now, he's not perfect, but you can see when I shake him, he's not very loose. And none of them had the weapon or the helmet on. But I looked through the bag and I found one, I think there might have been one helmet and two weapons, or one weapon and two helmets for all the figures. Now, they didn't say if I could have the accessories or not, or how that worked, but they were saying, Doc, $3 and let me pick. So I was like, well, I'll pick this one with the best paint and the best joints and take the accessories. So this, I was very happy with this. I haven't looked up to see what he's worth. I'm sure I could sell this for more than $3, but I don't want to sell it. I want to put it with my G.I. Joes so that he can tend to their wounds. So that's Doc. And that was from the Santa Rosa Toy Show, which was months ago now. Another one that's not quite as old, also loose, although I bought it packaged, is the 3 3/4 inch Captain Phasma from the Force Awakens movie. I bought this before the movie came out. The movie has since come out. I enjoyed it. I advise you to see it if you're interested soon, because spoilers abound. Regardless, the figure I got, even if I didn't like the movie, I knew I'd like this figure because it basically just looks like a cool stormtrooper. And I collect stormtroopers, so there you go. She goes in front of my troops, and she looks great. And in some ways, she even looks better than in her 6-inch counterpart, or the 7.5 inch, or whatever the Elite Metal series is that I showed you previously. The cape is rubber. She's only 5 points of articulation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the old school figures, which they're bringing back in these small ones. But the paint apps are nice. The pose they have her in is very good, and she's not like a ninja or anything. She's supposed to be an imposing military commander, so it works very well. She also came with this accessory, which I don't really care about. It's some sort of buzzsaw. This line is doing a good job, in my opinion, of being movie accurate, while at the same time coming with extra gimmicky things that you don't need to use. Oftentimes, they'll have a line where someone comes with a missile launcher or a grappling pack, and the idea is to give it playability for children, which I think is great, because toys are supposed to be for kids, even though I'm an adult buying toys. I want kids to like toys. I want them to have fun, and kids probably will like this. And if you buy other figures, it combines, it becomes some big thing, so it's extra play value and everything. But as an adult who wants it to be movie accurate, I don't need to use that. I could chuck it. Now I have my movie accurate Phasma. They can stand in front of my various stormtroopers and first order troops. But if I was a child that wanted to play, I have this. I think she's actually called Forest Mission Phasma, which is meaningless to me as a collector. Spoiler, there wasn't some forest mission that she went on in the movie. And I think there are other, various descriptors that are put in front of some of these figures. But as long as it's something I can take off and isn't attached to the figure, I have no problem with that. And this was a great figure. I got this at Target for retail $7.99. And I got it in the package, but since opened it, forgot to tell you guys about it. If I have a picture of the package, I'll throw it up at the end. What else? Well, let's go back to our old buddies. This was an eBay auction, which is why not an interesting box. And I'm going to dump this out here. Basically, I I've talked before about this. If you haven't seen, Skycommanders are an 80s property where they're on strings, is the short version. And I have hung some up around in my office with vehicles, but I wanted some extra figures to kind of complete the scene and just have extra stuff going on. And I found an auction lot on eBay of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures. Now, some of these I had. This guy I had, he came with the cannon, I believe. This guy I also had, he had his own little backpack, Raider Wrath. I'm kind of forgetting the names as I go. However, this, I'm losing track. This guy I definitely did not have. I don't believe I had this guy. And you can kind of tell the good guys from the bad. The good guys are the yellow and red, and the bad guys are more purple and blue. I either don't have him or I have somebody very similar to him. Now, I'm a little bummed because some of them, as I'm looking at them, and this is something I've talked about that you need to check on, they have these little lifelines that come with them. And some of them are all tangled up, like this guy's tangled up, that's fine. But I noticed one that was, here, this guy's disconnected. Now, luckily, he's a double, so it's not as big a deal, but it's supposed to be connected to his back. And this is something to watch for if you buy these. However, I got these guys, and the other good thing was a backpack vehicle. These figures are sold with larger vehicles like, you know, jets, tanks, that sort of thing. But then the individual figures, and I'm just going to guess this goes with him. I'll look up later to figure out exactly who this is supposed to go to. But the individual figures would come with a backpack like that. And their backpack is their vehicle. And this, you can see, has a string that would shoot off, and then he'd hang on it. So this guy will go on like that, whereas the rest of these I'm going to have hanging by their little individuals. And they're all used. They're not in the best shape, but I paid $5 for all 5. And that's $1 a figure, not counting his backpack. Shipping was $5, so if you count that, it's $2 a figure, which is still a pretty good deal. And this almost completes my, well, it doesn't complete my Skycommanders set in the sense that I have all of them, but what I want for my display, it pretty much completes it at this point. Especially considering the last thing I have, which is also Skycommanders. This is the Battle Track Protector, and it comes with Jack Riley. And actually, looking at this, I think, did I get Jack Riley? No. Okay, so this is another new figure. Now this, my buddy the Big Dog picked up for me. He picked it up at a store, again, here in California, down in Gilroy, which is about 45 minutes away, an hour away from me. I live in the Bay Area, if that means anything to you. This I saw on a Facebook toy group. And he mentioned he was going to be down at that store, and I said, oh, if they still have that, can you pick it up for me? It was advertised as $25. Well, it wasn't advertised. I had to ask, which is something I always think is weird about these groups. They're like, for sale, and everyone's like, how much? Like, private message me. Not a fan of that. I prefer you just say, I want $30. And then people, if they want to haggle with you, do that privately, fine. But it's annoying to have to message people every time you want to know what something costs. Regardless, $25 seemed like a fair price for this. I'd seen it on eBay and other places online for roughly that cost. So if it could save me shipping, then it's a deal. He picked it up for me, which I appreciate, and it was in the box. I think it even had a plastic around it, not a shrink wrap, but a bag. But he said after he got it, it's used. And as you can see, instead of finding the normal things you'd find inside, A, there's no instructions. B, it clearly is a Ziploc bag that says Mutt. Now, I do have the box, and that's nice because I like the box art on these toys. That's a big part of what I like about them, is the 80s aesthetic. But I thought I was paying $25 for either a new packaged vehicle or a repacked one. I don't mind if it's in pretty good condition and they just repack it and put it in. Arguably, this is a repack, except when you're dumping the parts into a Ziploc bag, that's not exactly a repack. And again, it's missing the instructions. Now, he checked it out and he said it seems to have all the pieces that are included, and I agree. I haven't opened it and put it on the wall and everything, but I've opened it like this. So you see there's the main sort of cockpit. Here's the figure, and again, you can see the figure has been used because his string is a little thin. You know, it's connected but not perfect. This would be where you'd connect the other end, the string goes between them, and then he has this extra little thing that he could ride this way if he likes. Now, the two things I needed to check was that this is motorized. It does still work, if you could hear it. Hear that? So this will bring itself across. I was previously sort of done with the current room and funds I have. I was sort of done with my Skycommanders collection with the exception of those guys I picked on eBay. Why did I get this one? Well, one, it was an opportunity because it was close and so we could pick it up, no shipping. Ended up not being as much of a deal as I thought it was going to be, but whatever. But all of the string commanders use this string, or most I should say. This one uses the Battle Track, which is different. And as you can see, it comes out here, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's some discoloration, again, further proving it's not exactly mint. Now, what this is, you string it just like you would the string, but when you put this on, the motor makes it move. So it's a motorized thing. And I'll put a little video at the end so you can see exactly what I mean. So I wanted one representation, and you wheeled it. I wanted one representation of this alternate style of, you know, sky commanding, as it were. What else came in here? This is everything that it should come with. Again, sans the actual packaging and the instructions, but it also came with an extra figure. Again, you can tell I'm not in great shape considering it's wrapped around his waist, but a free extra figure nonetheless, as well as this guy. I can't remember his name, but he's from Mask, Mobile Armor Strike Command, another quintessential 80s property, very similar to this in its gimmickiness, although it was more popular. Not as popular as G.I. Joe, Transformers, that sort of thing, but there are people who remember Mask, not so many that remember Skycommanders. This guy, again, I forget his name, I want to say it was Scott or something. He rode the Condor, which was a green motorcycle that turned into a helicopter. Not super relevant here, but I have this extra Mask figure. Now, some would argue that these two make it worth this, but another extra figure, fine. I had a few. Don't care about him. Not that I don't care about Mask, but he's in bad shape. He doesn't have his mask. Even if I liked Mask, I wouldn't be interested in him. This ended up not being a great deal. Now, do I think the person at the shop was swindling me, or my friend more to the point? I don't think so. And being that I wasn't there, I don't know the conversation that happened, and so I sort of took it on faith, like, hey, he said this price, can you buy it for me? I don't blame the big dog, he just was helping me out. But it does bring up a point that I've mentioned in some of my more thorough reviews and other things, that if you're buying something that is in a box that is openable like this, even if there's like a piece of tape on it, but you could see this one's like been retaped and it has like new stickers on, open it or ask to open it because it might be repackaged as opposed to new. Or if it is repackaged, it might be, you know, missing instructions and be a little bit more used than you thought, have random extra figures. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but you want to know what you're buying. If I was there in person, I would have been able to make a more educated decision. I probably still would have got it because it's not in bad shape, but I probably would have said, hey, how about 20 instead of 25, or, you know, maybe keep these guys and give it to me for 15, or, you know, done some kind of deal like that. That being said, this wasn't a huge ripoff. It just certainly wasn't a deal. Now that's going to conclude this Toy Shots. You may notice that the scenery is going to be the same because once again I tend to film a few Toy Shots at once. So the next one is going to be another catch-up, but a more recent catch-up. So until next time, I've been Gazbot, and this has been Gazbot's Toy Shots.
Look and go! The power, the majesty, the mechanical battle track action of Skycommanders! Can't quite make it. There he goes!